Good afternoon to you all. It's great to be back with another service and equipment update from Maersk. My name is Joyce Young. I'm heading up Customer Program Management in Asia Pacific, talking to you from our office in Shanghai. And together with me is my colleague, Mikhail Posley, our head of cargo for Asia Pacific. Mikhail is joining us today from our Singapore office. Today, we will spend 15 minutes sharing most updated news on the industry trend and the situations that impacting supply chain, particularly for those of you that have your logistic activities concentrated in Asia Pacific. We had over 1,000 friends and customers join us for our last update with some really great feedbacks. We here at Maersk are glad to hear how many of you are finding this monthly update useful. As always, we remain committed to support you all the way ahead of your supply chain challenges, especially in this period of time that is full of uncertainty and intense congestions around the globe. To start with, I will now hand over to Mikhail to give us the update on Yantian, which probably is one of the events that impacting you most on day to day. So over to you, Mikhail.
Thank you, Joyce. Good afternoon, everyone, and it's great to be back here in front of you again. I'll start with an update on the situation in Yantian Terminal and the effect it's having on the wider network. Then I'll go into our predictions and share with you some of the solutions that Maersk is putting together to keep you and your cargo moving during this time of disruption. If you have any feedback or questions from today, please type them in the Q&A box to the right of your screen, and we'll try and address as many of them as possible during this broadcast. Or we'll get back to you using your contact details from this meeting. Before I get started, I also want to remind you that you can download all our updates, including our June newsletter, from the website through the QR code on your screen or from the link that we have just posted in the Q&A box here. All right, so let's get started. I'll start with the situation in Yantian. And I come with some really good news in that we have started to see very consistent daily improvements in the terminal. However, the overall operational situation still remains challenging, in most part due to now the issues in Nansha, and I'll speak about that in a bit, and also the equipment shortages in South China. Maersk teams continue to work closely with customers to find alternative solutions to ensure prioritized cargo continues to keep moving. Let me go into specifics and give you a glimpse of what's happening on the ground as we speak. From 3rd of July, the Yantian Terminal has started to accept laden gate-ins that are ETA minus 7 days, moving up to 11,000 containers in a day, which is very close to the average of 12,000 that we have seen during a normal situation. The backlog of containers that have completed stuffing but not yet gated in is now also being cleared. The yard density was down to 50%, but has recently increased to 75% due to increased number of export cargo gate-ins. And we do expect this number to further increase in the days to come. The terminal productivity is now at 85% of the normal levels. Terminal waiting times have decreased to half a day, but we do again anticipate that these will increase gradually because of normalizing of number of services and additional vessels from all carriers. Warehouse turnover is also improving and utilization levels are high. We continue to work to an ETD minus 10 timeline to receive CFS cargo in Yantian warehouse. The warehouse is operating normally, and we have now shifted our focus to speeding up the outbound shipments. Coming back to Nansha, the Nansha yard density is at 78% for the laden. The terminal started laden gate-in control back in the first week of June, and the average waiting time is now 4 days for normal services. The terminal, however, is expected to clear all backlog around July and come back to the standard productivity levels. Moving to the equipment supply, we foresee severe shortages across the board. And through this week, empty 40 general purpose containers as well as high cube containers caused by massive vessel delays and omissions. And so if you need to gate in export volumes in Yantian, we encourage you to switch over to 20 GP for urgent cargoes. Additionally, we are prioritizing bringing in empties from Europe and North America on every single service that's coming into Asia. And finally, we are increasing the size of our fleet by tripling our in-fleeting of dry containers through 2021. So that gives you a little bit of an idea on what's happening in Yantian, in Nansha, and also on the equipment. I'll move a little bit broader now and update you on the overall network and the scheduled reliability. To start with, in North Europe, we have seen an improvement in scheduled reliability. We have unlinked AE1 and AE6 Asia to Europe routes from Trans-Pacific pendulum service, which means that the standalone North Europe strings are now less prone to disruption caused by the operational problems in North America. Now, that being said, North Europe is facing heavy congestion across the board, affected mainly by ocean delays. UK ports are showing high yard density, but for now there is little or no delay of vessels berthing in Felixstowe. In Germany, Hamburg continues to be particularly congested, which is why our AE7 service remains diverted to Bremerhaven until week 32. Antwerp, which is showing the highest waiting time across North Europe, is showing a delay of 3 to 4 days in berthing. While Rotterdam, we are facing about 1 to 2 days delay depending on the terminal. And we continue to divert our services to other terminals within the port when required. Gdansk is relatively smooth with modest delays and stable yard. And finally, in Le Havre, vessels are delayed due to the late arrivals, but the waiting times to berth is more or less normal. As the peak season approaches, please take these vessel delays into consideration when planning your supply chain. And please do contact our local sales representative to discuss more on inland or air transportation options. Now, on the Pacific side, the peak season is also fast approaching and July will see even stronger volumes. Leading retailers have forecasted a year-on-year growth of a massive 130%. Meanwhile, already in the first 5 months of this year, imports in and out of Asia grew by a 40.2%, again, a new record, signaling that port congestion actually may get worse as the peak season kicks off. And to cater to this critical time of the year, I'm very pleased to share that we will be introducing 2 new services connecting Asia and Pacific West Coast. These services will include a Yantian call and therefore will help us to clear any pending backlog even faster. These 2 services are in addition to the Asia-US East Coast service that we launched in June. It's very likely that the upcoming peak season is going to be one of the most challenging ones in the market has seen so far. And we, in Maersk, are prepared to keep your supply chains moving. On the Pacific coast, we will continue to provide flexible and agile solutions, switching port calls to ensure efficient market coverage. An example of which would be using Tacoma instead of Seattle, and this approach has already proven very successful back in June when we switched Surrey to serve Vancouver. For stable inland connections to any North American inland cargo, I would suggest you use Vancouver and Prince Rupert instead of Los Angeles as gateway ports. Moving to Africa, In West Africa, schedule reliability has been severely impacted because of congestion in destination ports. We are working to optimize origin and destination port coverage, and we are working to redistribute the buffers by allowing more time in the higher congested ports, for example, Apapa. We are also working hard on solutions to address issues with destination berthing windows. I hope that gives you a sense of all the actions that we are putting in place for the network, and hopefully these actions will provide an improvement to schedule reliability for you all. Now I hand over back to you, Joyce, to take us through logistics and services.
Thank you, Nikhil. We are completely with you that the Yantian situation and its ripple effect is indeed one of your top focus these days. Therefore, Maersk is here to support you with our integrated solution to mitigate as much as possible its impact to your supply chain. I will start off with how Maersk landside transportation solution can help you to keep your cargo moving. In terms of taking the cargo to right loading or diverting ports. First of all, we have managed in the recent months quite a few cases to truck shipment to Xiamen to catch induced costs as a backup plan to Yantian loading. Secondly, a multimodal transport solution can be an alternative to transport equipment and laden containers between factory and terminal in the case of a capacity shortage of trucking. Zhongnan barge service is just launched by Maersk, operating a combination of truck and barge between Zhongshan and Nansha. While the outlook for trucking capacity around Shenzhen is gradually improving, it is still fair to say that the ground transportation in South China currently is not without this problem, with an increased number of carriers are diverting cargo into Nansha port. It is actually give rise to a severe challenge in road congestion and the efficiency handling of gating laden containers. Now let's move to intercontinental rail capacity. This is today quite frequently being used as a backup to ocean. The capacity is expected to remain tight throughout July. Maersk is working on 2 to 3 extra loaders to clear the remaining backlogs. Another attempt that Maersk is doing together with our customer is to divert ocean volume to either air or LCL. On air, some customers are starting to look larger charter programs to secure capacity. So far, the air freight market has remained stable, and we are able to commit good capacity for early uplift. On LCL, Maersk operates direct consolidation boxes on 145 port pairs. Our Hong Kong hub is offering direct boxes into US markets as a backup to prioritize the ocean shipments that today has been used by a few customers if they are not able to get space or equipment out of Yantian. The Maersk Fushan hub is also up and running since 28th of June. Fushan is serving origins in Japan, South Korea, and North China with the advantage of transit time. It is still mainly focusing to the destinations in US. Same time, Fushan will also be used as a backup for our Hong Kong hub. Moving a bit away from Yantian to other parts of Asia Pacific, Maersk has set up new inland hubs in Vietnam at Tianzang Taicui in Mekong Delta. This allows for an increased flexibility in cargo movement, with the laden added convenience of container pickup and drop-off closer to production. And with the upcoming Olympics and Paralympic Games in Tokyo, we expected to see congestions around the port of Tokyo, which will impact delivery and turnaround times. We are already in the process of evaluating multiple plans and simulations to get the best prepared ratio in place to minimize the disruption. We will share with you our final plan once this is confirmed. And finally, from me, we also have TradeLens, a set of digitized freight management tools and services that will help you and your partners run a faster, more efficient, more transparent, digitized supply chain. TradeLens was developed by Maersk together with IBM and is now connected to over 60% of world's containerized freight. So today I have 3 pieces of news for you on TradeLens. First of all, TradeLens has launched and is now available in China. Second, we have just integrated one line into the system. Last but not least, we have also added Hyperloy from Germany. The milestones and the cargo visibility that are available on TradeLens through data integration with partners on the ecosystem can be very helpful in the situation of the likes of Yantian and Suez to highlight disruptions, enable dynamic planning that can help to survive from a potential shutdown or stockout. If you want to know more about how TradeLens can help you, please contact your Maersk sales representatives or click in the link that we have just pasted in the chat box. To wrap up, while Yantian is on the right track of recovery, there are significant backlogs of cargo sitting at your factories, warehouses, and terminals that will need to be cleared. With this in mind, as productivity improves, we are actively working to secure additional capacity to facilitate an as quick and seamless as possible recovery. What should not be understated, however, is the sheer magnitude of the peak season ahead, which will continue to stretch the global supply chain. Nevertheless, you can be rest assured that all the teams here at Maersk are working hard to plan and provide effective solutions that will keep your supply chain least impacted. So please do reach out and get in touch. This ends our brief update today. On behalf of the Maersk Asia Pacific team, we hope this live broadcast has been of help for you. For more information and to stay updated with us, scan the QR code on the screen to follow us on LinkedIn or access our latest advisories on Maersk.com. We welcome your suggestions and we will keep the chat box open for the next 15 minutes to receive your questions and feedbacks. Feel free to click on the survey available there to let us know how you feel. Thanks again for joining us today. We're extremely grateful for your trust and to be able to stay with you in your business during this extremely difficult time. We wish you a great day and a great week ahead and look forward to seeing you again at our next broadcast in August. Keep well, keep in touch.